So we were at Estrella, and Morgan had built the Everest pistols. Most of your RPG rounds are surgical tubing that about yay big around. And you've got the zip tie to hold everything together, and then the heat shrink over that. So you put the zip tie down the barrel, stretch it back, locks in place. Well, he had also made me some harpoon gun tubing rounds that are
Oh no.
a wee bit smaller and a lot less stretchy.
Yeah.
As we mustered, they called anybody with a gun to the center of the field. Cool. I show up. I've got my two pistols. I've got a regular rubber band on one and one of the harpoon gun rounds on the other. And I've got 5 or 6 more rounds in my pouch. Like, okay, at the outset of the battle, you're going to target the Dons.
This is before there were mods.
Right.
Cool, no problem. Big white thing hanging off their shoulder makes them an easy target. Looks like bird poop most of the time. So we line up, and I'm down on the far left end of our line. And one of the Dons that I knew quite well was on the near-ish far right end of the other line, Don Christian St. Clair. Always wore very pretty, very pronounced brocades and stuff like that. Now, this particular day, he was wearing a light blue and gold brocade with the full cowl and everything. He matched from head to toe.
And he was tall, which made him
So
a
he
really nice
stood out.
target as well.
Yeah.
The only Don that I knew that was taller than Christian was Ulrich. And that was not by much. So I'm kind of looking up and down the line as we're getting ready to call Leon. And I see this huge blue and gold thumb sticking up out of the crowd. Okay. So I've got my pistol ready, and they call Leon. And I just level my pistol and fire. Couldn't see the rubber band as it left the pistol. But I did see Christian go. Apparently he was looking out his ear hole for a second after that hit him in the face. And this was a 4-hour res battle in Phoenix. So everybody was pretty well dead afterward. But Christian still sought me out afterward. And he stopped me and he looked me in the face. You just shot me in the face, didn't you? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, I did. It's a good shot. It's a good shot. Those were good rounds.
That was the same year, I think, that all of Dragon's Lair went down there with like 13 rubber band guns as fencers. So this would be Talon and Connor and myself. I think Caius was there. Anyway.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So there were a bunch of us down there. They eventually abandoned all the scenarios that they had planned for the fencers, and they just switched over to rubber band guns versus the world. At one point, they actually they rearranged all the hay bales, and they put the hay bales into a square in the center of the field and said, "That's the Alamo. We're putting all the rubber band guns in the Alamo." So I think there were 9 of us. I don't know how many other fencers there were, but we were far outnumbered. The one concession that they gave us is they gave us a powder monkey. They gave us I don't even remember who this kid was. He was a kid who wasn't allowed to carry any weapons. He couldn't die, but his job was to go out there in the field and gather up the rounds and come back. And he was allowed to do that.
I think that was one of the kids out of White Mountain. Actually,
I don't know.
I think it was.
It may have been.
But anyway.
Anyway, so I just remember, I don't know why so many of my stories are me not doing well, but I guess that's what I remember. So I just remember that we were in the Alamo, and I had my musket, my giant musket, and I grabbed a round off the table that they had in the middle of the Alamo for us. I loaded my musket, and I was going to turn to fire at one of the entryways as I saw a foe come in the entryway straight across from me. So I turned and leveled my musket and fired across the table that all of my allies were loading from.
Oh no.
Right in time for one of my allies to lean over the table and take the round in the side of her head. And she froze. She froze for a second and goes, "Did you just shoot me?"
Oh Oh my gosh. So I have one kind of like that. Clinton Moore, back when when dirt was dirtier than it is now. I was Kingdom Protector. That'll tell you how long ago that was, because that was in '94. And I had gone up to Lionsgate to participate in Clinton War, thinking that I would be able to fight for the Baroness, which was a cool thing in those days. We like to do that. And got told that I had to be a rogue because I was not a member of Lionsgate nor their sergeantry, which was fine. So cutting out all the fun bits that happened between this incident and that, they had a beautiful, like, 2-story castle with a palisade all around the inside at the top level, so you could go up there and shoot through the crenellations and actually do stuff that people would have done in a castle in those days. And so I'm up there. The rebels, the marauders, us, have got, in this particular scenario, have the castle, and Lionsgate is besieging the castle, trying to take it from us. So I'm up there and I'm just dealing death with my wood arrows, and because I'm shooting down, and they've got pavises down there for their combat archers, but I can see them over the top of the pavises. And I'm kind of pretty much controlling an area of maybe 60 yards wide in a kind of a fan from where I was off that one side of my of the castle. And then, so I'm scanning for enemies, and I'm looking here, and I don't see anybody left over here. So I'm looking over here, and then I look over this side, and I see Baron Thorvald, and he's like 80 yards away, and he's lying behind a tree, right? There's a fallen log, and he's lying behind it. But he's got his crossbow, because he shot a crossbow, and he's got his crossbow up there, and he's just like watching what's going on at the castle. And I look at him, and I say, I don't have to worry about him. And I turn back and put an arrow on, and I'm looking over the edge of the castle, and all of a sudden, whang, in the side of the head. And I fall down. And I mean, literally, I fell down. It was such a big bang on the side of my head. And there's one of Thorvald's bolts laying there. And I look back over there, and he's standing up behind his tree, waving at me. Gotcha! It was a remarkable shot, but mainly because I think I was so completely unprepared to be hit in the side of the head from 80 yards or so away. He was a long ways away, and it was an amazing shot. He still kids me about that. Every time I talk to him, he kids me about, hey, I remember when I shot you at Clinton Moore.
Oh,
yeah,
I would
Thorvald,
too.
yeah, I remember, man.
Mm-hmm.
He's a good guy. I like Thorvald a lot.